Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Greater Hilltop Area Commission. Sorry for the delay. Thank you and welcome for being here tonight. So we're going to go ahead and start off by with the agenda. Do you have any corrections or deletions? I know I did see the comments about the Hilltop Rise Hilltop. I did get those corrected and sent out to the secretary. Were there any other corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, I make the motion to approve the October full commission agenda. Do I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. All right, moving on to the roll call. Can I get the Assistant Secretary Ashley Montana to do a roll call?
Yes, commissioners, I'm just going around, so Commissioner Mateen, here. Carr, here. Howard, present. Kepler, here. Bates,
Here.
Waite,
Here.
Amin, here. Maddox.
Here.
Farkas.
Here.
Montana, present, and McKee, here. And Commissioners Smith, Argero, and Fagan are absent. So we do have a quorum.
And then we need to approve the September meeting minutes. Were there any additions or corrections that anybody's seen for the September meeting minutes? I should get a motion to approve the September meeting minutes.
So moved.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained? All right, the meeting minutes for last month are approved. All right, we do have a full house tonight. We've got 5 presentations. We got 5 zoning items on the agenda. So we are going to go out of order just a little bit because there's a lot to get through tonight. There are some things that we can update the public over our social media and with our involvement in the community. So with that, I am going to ask Officer Cody if he'd like to give an update since he is here in case he has to leave. So okay, so thank you. The city attorney's office, so Rob Dorsey here. Okay, now we move on to Department of Neighborhoods, OLDC Eddie, do you have any updates?
Good evening, commissioners. I have quite a few announcements to get through, and unfortunately, I won't be able to stay for the duration of the meeting today. But I did, want to make sure I share this information with you. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to contact me via email or give me a call. First, zoning training is set for Saturday, October 25th at 9 a.m. It will be in conference room 141, which is located in the parking garage located at 141 North Front Street. Registration is ongoing right now. There are still spots available, but they are limited. So if you haven't already registered and you're interested in attending, please register as soon as possible. I highly recommend this training for any of our new commissioners. Goes over the ins and outs of zoning, which is a pretty crucial part of your role as an area commissioner. Yeah, I know. All right, and also would like to extend an invitation to the area commissioners for the Snow Warriors Behind the Scenes experience that's being hosted by the Department of Public Service. This will take place this Friday, October 10th from 9 to 10 a.m. I had sent the official invite with the registration link via your emails this afternoon. Registration does end tomorrow. I was able to participate in it last year. It was really cool. Got to stand up and climb onto the snow plows and everything. Got to see them go through with like an obstacle course. It was really cool. So if you have the opportunity, I would highly recommend partaking in that experience. This Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. The Department of Neighborhoods and City Council's Community Engagement Team is hosting our first West Side Coffee and Conversation. Our special guests will be the West Side team for code enforcement, It's gonna be from 9 to 10 a.m. at Glenwood Community Center. Registration, is highly recommended, just to make sure we have enough coffee and pastries for everyone. But please feel free to join, even if you aren't able to do so. I will leave a flyer with the registration link and the QR code, for you to scan if you'd like to attend. And the link is also in the West Side Bulletin that was just sent out this evening. The Columbus Water and Power is hosting a Hilltop community meeting on Thursday, October 16th, called Pipes and Pizza. It'll be at 6 p.m. at Mid Ohio Farm, and this will be to talk about the lead service line replacement program. There'll be a lot of capital improvement projects that are happening throughout the Hilltop, and this will provide residents with an opportunity to have their lead pipes replaced for free of charge. So they are just sharing that information and keeping residents up to date on the upcoming construction projects that are happening throughout the Hilltop. The Cap City Festival, hosted by Parks and Rec, Rec and Parks, is set for October 24th. That's a Friday from 4 to 8 p.m. It'll be at Westgate Park. Franklinton Board of Trade and Hilltop Rise are going to host a tire drop-off event at the Franklinton Board of Trade parking lot. That's off of West Broad Street. That'll be Saturday, October 18th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then finally, Link Dust is hosting a pop-up event on Monday, October 27th at Cut Records. This will be an opportunity for them to answer any of your questions you may have about future projects along the Link Dust corridor. So that's what I have for you. Any questions for me?
What time is the event at Cut Records for Linkus?
You know what? Of course, I forgot to write down time, but it is located in the West Side Bulletin. Any other questions?
5 to 7 p.m.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome, thanks,
Thank you. Hope you guys have a wonderful week and a wonderful evening.
appreciate it. Moving on to Department of Neighborhoods, Nick Plow for Kevin Orr for Envision Hilltop.
Everyone, just just briefly, we had our recent advisory team meeting back on September the 24th. We heard a number of updates, one from Mid Ohio Farm, who hosted us for the event. The Healthy Homes gave an update on their home repair program that they've been doing here on the Hilltop. We also heard from the Franklin County Crisis Care Center, which was recently opened, talking about the services that they're offering. The Highland West Civic Association gave a presentation on their empowerment series, of which they have one coming up tomorrow, I believe, is right, Carla?
Yes.
And then we heard updates from the subcommittee chairs and then the next meeting is scheduled for Friday, December 12th from 10 to noon. This is an advisory team meeting, but it is open to the public, and anybody who's interested in what's going on with the Envision Hilltop are certainly welcome to attend. We're going to be hosted by the Bantu Hope Foundation. Will be hosting us. So stay tuned for updates. And I'm really glad to see so many people here today. If you're not aware of what it is that I'm talking about, Envision Hilltop is a community plan that was put together and launched in 2020. It is facilitated by the Department of Neighborhoods. Input was provided by people who live here on the Hilltop. A number of goals and action plans were established in that plan. And the advisory team focuses on trying to turn those what's on paper into reality. And so you can read that plan at envisionhilltop.com. You can read the plan, and what's really good about that website is that we have a updated report on the progress that's been made over the past few years. So I really would encourage you to take a look at that at envisionhilltop.com. And if you want to be involved and have any kind of input, the contact information for everybody is there on that website. Thank you.
Thank you. Next from Hilltop Rise, Danny Peterson.
Okay,
those of you who don't know me, I'm sure you all hear from my updates, just kidding. I'm Danny Peterson with Hilltop Rise Economic Development CEC. OLBC gave an update about the tire, one side tire roundup. So it's a tire amnesty event. You got tires in your garage or your alley, your tire you're looking at. You can bring them on Saturday, October 18th to 1091 West Broad Street. Only open to residents, not to commercial businesses, but there's all, you go to Hilltop Rise or Franklin Board of Trade, there's a number on there. You don't have transportation, you see tires in your alley, you can call and text that number and we'll get that on for you. The main announcement I want to give is, many of you are probably aware by now that Hilltop Rise is in contract to purchase, two mixed-use properties in the corner of, West Broad and Westgate Avenue. Very, very high level, that we received a grant from the City of Columbus for the property acquisition. Once we, and like I said, we're just in contract now. Once we close on the properties, our plan is to use the equity from those two buildings to then go out and secure private loans that will be used to make renovations for the commercial, units and the residential spaces to maintain affordability for especially the commercial units. Has been a big problem on Broad Street. As part of that, we are hosting a Hilltop Community Conversation event next Tuesday, right here at the library at 7 o'clock. If you want to learn more about that project and how that fits into the larger development at Hilltop, I will have these in the back if anybody wants to see them. I think that's it. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. And again, just kind of keeping pace, we do have a full agenda tonight, so we're gonna save the announcements until after our presentations and zoning. But if any commissioners would like to just send those over to either myself or Ashley, we can get those posted on Facebook or on Instagram, so we can go ahead and get those out. So with that said, I'm gonna turn it over to the City of Columbus lead pipe replacement, Hannah Mullen, if she's here. Yes.
Oh. Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
hear me now.
Say hi.
So it says, okay. Did you hear me? Okay, okay. So that's one. Thank you. My name is Hannah Mullen. I'm here from the City of Columbus. Thank you for the time you're giving me this evening. I'm gonna talk really fast. For the sake of time. Also, as Old BC mentioned, we are hosting a public meeting here in the Hilltop on Thursday, next Thursday. That is at the Mid-Ohio Farm. It's a really, really cool space. If you haven't checked it out, I would highly recommend coming just to see that. My first announcement would be that I'm from Columbus Water and Power, which has recently undergone a name change. We used to be the Columbus Department of Public Utilities. So first and foremost, if you start seeing any mail from Columbus Water and Power, you should really open that up. It's probably your water bill. Is that presentation awesome?
Okay.
Awesome, thank you. So I am here to talk about some water infrastructure. We have a new program. It is a citywide program, both inside and outside the city limits, that is replacing lead and galvanized steel water service lines. The impetus is coming from a federal piece of legislation. And so this is not a Columbus specific program. This is not born of water quality or health concerns. Here in Columbus, we have a very effective treatment process to prevent lead from getting in the water. The main benefit for you Columbus residents is that galvanized steel water service lines are over 100 years old. A lot of them are about 150 years old, especially here in the Hilltop. So it is really time for an upgrade. These break all the time because this is a federal program. The cost for all of these materials is already going up. So we're looking at about now $7,000 savings for replacing this this infrastructure. We could go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. So as Old BC kind of mentioned, what we're doing, we are planning to replace around 50 to 60,000 water service lines. That is a lot. So how are we going to be doing that? We're going to be doing that by tacking on to planned city construction. So a lot of this is water main replacements or upgrades. We're gonna tack on to this planned city construction and replace these lead and galvanized steel water service lines. There are two sides of a water service line, public and private. This is the first time that we are going on that private side, so we will be working on private property and we will have to go inside homes in order to do this work. We can go ahead and continue. Oh, so about 7 projects are going to be impacting the hilltop, also Westgate, surrounding areas, within about the next 6 months. The hilltop and Linden, are going to be hot spots for us, primary spots for this work, so. We just finished up South Hague, Ogden, Wrexham Avenue is upcoming, Ben's Atlanta, South Powell, Westmore, we have, a lot of these upcoming probably by the end of the year. We are the city, so sometimes these schedules change, you might say by the end of the year, but it could slide into maybe the summer of next year. We can go ahead and continue. So I do have maps with me tonight, if you wanted a handout of some maps, or, you know, the commissioners, if you would like something to take away, I can go ahead and give you some maps, we can keep on going, those red squiggly little worms are where we will be doing some work. Okay, so most importantly, what is this going to cost you, the homeowner? Like I said, during planned city construction, this is when we're gonna be doing this work. When it is part of planned city construction, it's free. We don't hear that from the government a whole lot, so I'll like just share the asterisks, you know, Mark. Your bill is not going up because of this work. We are not tacking on, you know, the cost of replacement to your water bill. There's no lien on your property, or your mortgage. When we, the city, are knocking on your door to do this work, it's free. Like I said, this stuff breaks all the time. Unfortunately, when it breaks, it is your financial responsibility. You keep on doing that. So how do you know if you're going to be impacted? Well, again, we're going to have a meeting Thursday next week. I'll be behind some flyers, and us, the city, as well as the engineers who knows the answer to all the technical questions that I don't always know. We will be there on Thursday, available to you all to answer your specific questions and to give you property specific information. But we do have a publicly available map online. You can put in your address, and that will show you the water line material for both the public and the private side. Keep in mind that if you already know if you have copper or plastic and you think this isn't going to affect you, well, it still could. Because we might be doing our side, so your water might be shut off for some time or whatnot. So I would highly recommend you, especially if you're a landlord, to come out Thursday and learn more, or to go to columbus.gov/SL inventory and look up the material of your water. So could I answer any questions right now? That's the really quick spiel. Next week, there will be more information.
Are there any questions from commissioners? Are there any questions from people in the audience? Awesome, thanks so much for coming out, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, our next one is gonna be Equitas Health. They are requesting a letter of support for a permanent fixed facility off of Westbound Street.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Jasmine Bradley. I'm the Director of Health Center Programs at Equitas Health. I will pass the mic around to my colleagues here before we give a presentation.
Good evening, commissioners and fellow legislators. We, like she said, from Equitas Health, I'm Elizabeth Onzima, my pronouns are she, her, and I am Senior Employees Program Safety Manager.
Hi, I'm Carla Gilroy from Mass, and I am a prevention specialist at State Point. Everyone, my name is Jeff, Chief Financial Officer for also. Excellent. So we just have a couple of slides we wanted to go through today, to introduce Equitas Health, to you all. And this is with the, request for letter of support for the property at 1662 West Mount Street. Where we intend to, we're hoping, to establish a new healthcare center for the community. And next slide. Health center lookalike. We provide wraparound services, including primary care, dental care, behavioral health, and pharmaceutical services. We also provide case management, housing, and prevention services. So we do kind of a wraparound care model. And we, because of our federally qualified health center lookalike status, we turn no patients away, due to ability to pay. Slide. We do currently have medical centers in Dayton, Cincinnati, Akron. We have 2 medical centers in Columbus, in the King Lincoln location, and 1 in the Short North. We also have a number of regional offices as well, where we do our case management and prevention services. We currently have over 17,000 primary care patients. We see over 20,000 behavioral health visits. We have over 2,500 dental care patients as well. And really, our whole model is around care. So when people come in, we're trying to do the most of hospitals while we have them on our side. And this is really reflective when we think one of our core constituents of our services is people living with HIV. And our case management model there, 88% are virally expressed. This is compared to 65% at the national average. So it is. And that is due to this wraparound model, essentially, being able to access all these different services all at once in our healthcare centers. All right, now I'll hand it over to Paul. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So like I mentioned, I am a prevention specialist at Safe Point, which is the syringe services program that is run by Equitas. We are currently located in a little shoebox of a building in Franklinton. But we would like to be able to move into the youth health center, just to be able to serve all of our participants better. In the past year, we've handed out 20,000 boxes or doses of naloxone, which is the opiate overdose reversal drug. We've also handed out almost 40,000 drug testing strips. To hopefully prevent overdose in the first place if people are aware that there may be fentanyl or other opiates in their drugs. And then we also provide over 2,000 referrals and linkages to care to our participants who come in, whether that's for affordable health care, treatment, banks, any kind of service they may need. A lot of the folks we see are housing insecure, and they, need a lot of, our help because of that. We safely, disposed of 8 last year, which may have ended up, in the streets or in the trash or somewhere where they could have harmed someone. And then all of our participants reported about 2,500 lives saved with naloxone that we handed out to them. We also do outreach events up there where we're also not only providing syringes, naloxone, and other harm reduction products, but we help out with hygiene, snacks,
Just honestly, being a friendly face for a population that is often very marginalized. And by moving into this new health center, we hope to up our impact. We already see a lot of people from the Hilltop neighborhood already. They make their way down to Franklinton to see us, and hopefully they will continue to come and see us while we are in their neighborhood. Thank you.
You can go to the next slide.
So it's probably important for all of you to know why we are choosing the Greater Hilltop. Hilltop remains extremely high risk doses. With the Franklin County CARES dashboard, which is what you see up there. The highest number of overdose deaths in zip codes 43204, 43228, and 43223 were shown in 2024. And we do have the link to the Franklin CARES website if anybody does want to take a look at that. Safe Point, as Carmen said, sees a great deal every single day. And they are, zip codes are the top 5 zip codes that we serve, and that we did serve last year. Next slide. Some important things to remember, are the conditions that some of our individuals that we see exist with. We have cardiometabolic conditions, obesity, heart disease, diabetes, stroke. They're significantly higher and overrepresented among adults. We often see a lot of respiratory disease, asthma stands out as a chronic condition and health concern. Of course, STIs and HIV are also in very high prevalence. Behavioral health and substance use issues remain key gaps, and that is where Safe Point stands in the gap for the community and really welcomes them in so we can take care of those priority areas for our folks. Next slide. And for our participants, we really are the voice for them here tonight for all of you, because obviously you don't have a chance to meet them, but we meet them every single day. And some of the quotes up there are directly from our participants. I've learned a lot and grown a lot since being in this program, only using occasionally now. Finally getting my kids back, and it's helped me so much. It's not a place you just come and get supplies to use drugs. You get a lot of help there. Courtney helped me sign up for benefits, and I can talk with Brian and Suzanne. That's how I can even talk to you all today. I usually can't do that with anyone. I usually feel ashamed and not seen, but not here. A lot of people wouldn't know what to do without this place. Between the supplies and the ability to get all kinds of services, this place is pretty great. It's also good to help prevent hepatitis C. Again, when I got treatment, when pharmacies stopped selling syringes, it caused a lot of people to get hep C when this was open. There's countless success stories for me. There's endless lives saved every single day with what my staff the community, and it would be an honor to continue to serve everybody that needs us most. That's it. If anybody has questions,
Yeah, are there any questions from the commission?
You mentioned the dental visit over 7,000. Are you by dental visits in facility or?
Well, initially, it's dental. But I have actually hope to be able to that we're talking now for location, possibly double the space, and that will give us opportunity and services as needed based on demand.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commission? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I actually just, said collected 800,000 needles, is that correct? How do you think you handed out?
Close to $1 million.
last year. Cause I pick a lot of trash and I find a lot of needles, so that 200,000.
So we also have,
Unbound.
as part of what we do at State Point, community cleanups are also part of what we do. So we do go out into the communities as well, in the 4 major areas and do our community cleanups to help combat what we don't left at sea.
I know we have a number of centers that sort of do work in the health. I would have a little concern, as close as it is to railroad tracks, that it might, create a little bit of difference, essentially to the neighbors. And I wonder if the people who live in the vicinity have any notice of any of this information. Or if it would be like a clearance, a zoning change for change of use.
I'll let Jennifer speak because I think. We did sailors to, people living within the local area, within a 1 mile radius. It's fun that others meetings will to come and provide, input. Yeah, so. they have to-
And also really quickly, just to, go back to what you had said about a number of different agencies doing things. Safeway's actually the only sanctioned syringe program in Columbus and Franklin County, so nobody else does what we do. But it's so important we are a place that people come to for this service.
Yeah, and we. For which I also.
Any questions? Yes.
Many. Just want to share briefly for those who are not at the committee meeting and just a little bit of background on this proposal. So I think the learners that they were previously operating at the primary water off of West Broad, and I believe we weren't seeing the traction of that. Kind of outgrowing the Franklinton space, and so our letter of support was presented to them when they kept primary one. This is really updating the letter of support to support the new patient. I am particularly excited about this project because it is a health center, so it's not just this the syringe exchange, but it's also providing other healthcare services to our neighbors. And I've shared a little bit about this with some folks and they were excited about the access of care, so it's to and then when we were in committee, we had 3 committee members present, 3 voting members present, they all voted in favor of that. We had other people in attendance that were, so it was 3.
And we really like the location because. There's life expectancy is 50 years, which is the lowest in the state. So we really feel that citizen care is needed at that area.
Any other questions from commissioners? From the audience? I will motion that we sign this updated letter of support as written. It was sent to commissioners, I believe, within the last week, so we've all had a chance to review it. So I will motion. Is there a second? I can call the roll. Sorry, do it. Okay. We'll do a roll call vote. I'm just gonna go around. Commissioner Matee, how do you vote?
I actually have to accuse myself.
Okay, yes. I'll put you as an abstention. Commissioner Carr.
Yeah.
Sorry. Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yes.
Bates.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Me. Maddox.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
I vote in favor. Vicky,
Yes.
motion passes, 9-1-1. So we'll. Thank you so much.
Alright, moving on, is Malcolm Wilkes here from Westgate Rec Center?
Hello, everyone. My name is Malcolm Wilson. I'm the center manager over at Westgate Community Center. I was here today just to give some updates on some of the events that we had. On Friday, October 17th, we'll have our fall harvest party from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. During that event, we'll have a Halloween themed party for kids of all ages. We'll have candy, a bounce house, mini carnival games, and light refreshments. On October 24th, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., we'll have the Cap City Festival at Westgate Park. That's the event where you can come celebrate the community. We'll have food and activities for all ages. Activities like bounce house, zip lines, inflatables, climbing wall, laser tag, and we'll have free food while supplies last. We'll also have Friday, November 7th and Saturday, November 8th, we'll have our Westgate Children's Theater fall production, The Emperor's New Clothes. So that's you ready to come out and watch kids do their performing arts and have a good time with that. That's on Friday, November 7th. That's a 7 p.m. start time, and then the Saturday is a 2 p.m. start time. We'll have our winter holiday party on Friday, December 12th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. During that event, we'll give away a lot of toys. Last year, we gave away over 250 toys. And we hope to do that many or more this year, thanks to our partners through our Adopt a Center program. That starts at the giveaway starts at 6:30, and the child must be present to get a toy. Also, one of our upcoming sports leagues will have registration for youth basketball, ages 6 to 12, and that registration starts Tuesday, October 21st. And the fee for that is $50 per child, and if you have Medicaid or care source or any type of Medicaid, you get a discount, and the fee would be $30 for that. That's all I have for our community events and programs. Is there any questions?
The minutes, can you say the production that you're doing, the 7th and the 8th again?
Yes, it's The Emperor's New Clothes.
And narrator 2 is phenomenal.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. All right, moving. Is Kane Murray here from Opportunity City? Nope. All right, moving on, we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna turn over to zoning. So I'm gonna turn everything over to Nick Bates.
All right, thank you all. I assume nobody here is for zoning applications, correct? Nobody here is really interested in it, okay. Before we begin tonight, I do want to say, we have had many of these applications. Is this even picking me up at all? Oh, no.
The speaker's on the back.
Okay.
So,
We've had committee hearings already on these applications. There are 2 applications that had some, quite a bit of community input, the Georgesville Green and Briggs Road. raise your hand real quick if you're here to speak on one of those applications, Georgesville Green, or to be involved in Georgesville Green or the Briggs Road application. Raise them real high. Okay. I am going to apologize in advance. As you can see, we're already at 10 or 7 applications. We have already had the zoning committee where we were able to hear a lot of testimony of these out. So we are gonna go through tonight when those applications come forward. The process is we'll have to present first. And then we will share the committee recommends on those applications. And if there is a community group that is interested in speaking, that application, we'll invite it, or be keeping track of time so that we can keep moving on this. I am sorry that we won't be able to have the full 2 hours worth of conversation again on these applications, but we have many things. And we already have that as part of the record. I also want to explain that what happens from here tonight is in the next 48 hours after tonight's meeting, I will be filling out a recommendation form to send to the city based on the feedback we get tonight. So as you consider your comments, the more that is focused on zoning specific issues, the more that strengthens my writing and my letter to the city for our recommendation on behalf of the community. Okay? And then city council and the zoning board and other people are also going to be making recommendations and taking the final votes on these applications at that level. So if there are specific things I can include, I encourage you to email those to me, mention them tonight. If there's specific language you'd like, be sure to email that to me as well. Okay, so I just want to explain a little bit of the process. This is not the final voice on applications tonight. So whether we vote for or against an application, there's still that city process to the city, all right? So we are actually going to begin with the number 2 application on the form, 393 Dare Road, BZA 25104. If you'd like to come forward and share your request, introduce yourself and tell the commission a little bit about the application.
Hi, everybody. I'll make this quick as possible. I know we're super busy tonight. My name is Haley Stroud. I bought my first home in the winter of 2022 around the Westgate Park neighborhood. We fell in love with the backyard. It's where my fiance and I plan to grow our family. We're getting married next month. But since moving in, our ability to enjoy and feel safe in the yard has been repeatedly compromised. So a few facts to kind of frame why this fence matters. Safety incidents on our block. There have been 2 shootings within 3 houses of my home in 2023. Visible trespassing and drug activity. Before we purchased the house, we found evidence that people were accessing our shed and our backyard because the old chain link fence just made it extremely easy to enter. There are 7 registered sex offenders within a 0.5-mile radius of my home. Persistent trash and nuisance. From my yard, I can clearly see piles of trash and debris at the neighboring addresses, including a spray painted sign reading Crack Shack, which I have entered into the application. That has since been taken down, but it's stuff like this that I'm seeing repeatedly, as you can imagine. We had a recent burglary in June of 2025. Our home was robbed. We have photos linking that insecurity of our yard to be a real risk. And last but not least, intimidation and invasion of privacy. Beginning in 2025, a neighbor, same neighbor who actually filed the complaint against us about the fence, has been standing in the bed of their commercial truck, which is parked in their driveway, and peering over our privacy fence into my home at me. I do have a video of that. Do you have that pulled up?
I didn't, we don't have that pulled up for tonight, yeah. We did view the video during the zoning committee.
So anyway, because of these issues, a solid privacy fence is not just a cosmetic choice, though it does look great, as you can see. It's a necessity for our family's dignity, our privacy, and our safety. So in May of 2024, we erected this privacy fence that you see. That's precisely where the original chain link fence had been positioned, which is along Westway on the right side of the house, approximately 40 feet back from Darrer and 13.1 feet back from the Westway curb. I followed what I know to be the property line and the footprint of the previous fence. So the complaint asserts that there are visibility concerns for that neighbor when backing out. I want to be clear that the area has over 13 feet of vision clearance. The neighbor parks his large commercial truck, a striker pest control vehicle, in their driveway every day. So if visibility is reduced, it's because of that vehicle usage and not because of our fence location. So I ask that their claim be evaluated in the context of vehicle choice rather than requiring me and my family to sacrifice a large portion of the yard. If it is forced back 12 feet into the yard or fence, we would lose roughly 1,092 square feet of usable space. Which is the very reason that we bought the home. This loss would substantially diminish our quality of life and remove a buffer that currently helps prevent theft and trespassing. Reducing the height or opacity of the fence would likewise negate the privacy and protection that we urge. I'm committed to being a good neighbor. I want to comply with the city rules. I'm asking for a reasonable consideration given the safety and privacy issues that we've been facing, especially as we plan to start a family. So I'm asking that the commission consider to approve the fence tonight as installed on the original chain link footprint. Grant a variance that allows us to keep the fence where it has been rebuilt, given the evidence in the application.
Thank you. The commission or the committee did view the video, and I think creepy is a fair evaluation of the neighbor peering over the fence. And because it does occupy the same footprint of the previous chain link fence that was there, and as you can see, there is that substantial buffer from the street still. We did vote unanimously in favor of supporting this variance request. Are there any questions from commissioners at this time for the applicant?
Have you had somebody come out and look at the lines to make sure that it is not over the line in any way, shape, or form? Has the neighbor asserted that in any way, shape, or form?
No, nothing like that has happened, although the property was evaluated at the time of us purchasing it. We were very conscientious about vision clearance, something that I think we were very careful of.
We had the property surveyed, and we went along the property line that was provided in the survey.
I just want to make sure if we approve this and it's outside of that, now we've approved outside of that, we haven't done our due diligence, all like the jet, that's all. So, yeah, okay, cool.
Any questions or comments from community members on this application? Seeing none, I would like to move that we approve zoning variance request 25-035. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll call the vote.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in the same order, so just get used to it. Commissioner Mateen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carr? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, Howard?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
James?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well.
I'm in.
Great.
Motion passes by all present via voice.
Thank you, and I will forward you also our standard recommendation form when I send it down to the folks at the city for consideration.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All righty, moving right along tonight. Our next application will be graphics variance 25-070 for 2725 West Broad Street to adjust the signing at the Sunoco gas station.
Good afternoon, I'm Lori Williams, I'm with CNB Sign Services. And I am here requesting an increase of square footage from 14.8 to 22.5. For wall signage, this street sign that you have at this store has been hit. I believe that's a 2019 image, so. That sign is legally non-conforming and will not be able to be put into compliance if we were to install a new sign with a new foundation. So we're proposing canopy prisers on the west elevation. The standard Sunoco image to get them into compliance with Sunoco so they can get their funding. We have to have a 22.5 square foot pricer up there to display their fuel prices. So that's simple.
The committee did vote 6 in favor for this application as well. We did hear this application last month, but we heard it just for another part of the graphic variation that needed to occur and not the sizing issue. So people downtown said, wait a second, you need the signing and you gotta go through the process again for the sizing adjustment. Do we have any questions from the committee or the commission? Any questions or comments on this application from the community? Then I would like to move that we approve application 25-070 for 2725 West Broad Street. Second.
Call the roll, Commissioner Martine, how do you vote? Yes. Cook? Yes. Howard? Yes. Kepler?
Yeah.
Bates?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Farkas?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Yes. Motion passes 11-0-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I'll get that paperwork out in the next 48 hours. Alrighty. I think they're all gonna go this quickly tonight, right?
Yeah, don't jinx us.
All right, our next application is BZA 25-110 for 3500 West Broad Street. Oh, there it is.
Hello, I'm Steve Aaron with a company called Architect Construction. We're architects and builders that are working on this wonderful little project here. This is Ilias. Their favorite engineers that we get to work with. So our clients have purchased this building and are in the process of trying to renovate it for an animal hospital. Right now, they presently have an animal hospital about 4 doors down west of this site on Broad Street, which they've outgrown. And the building's in pretty poor disrepair. So they purchased this building. This building, is there a site plan associated with? Oh, yeah. So this building is a pretty tight piece of property. It's actually isolated by private land on the north and east sides. We have no access to any of the roadways with this piece of property as well, so it's landlocked. We can only park on the existing surfaces that we have right now, which are between the building and Wilson Road, and then to have the drives around it. And that's part of the issue, is that we have an existing facility that doesn't really comply with the most recent Title 24 or Title 34 zoning codes, which don't allow parking between the building ways. So we requested relief from that. We've also requested relief from the 30-foot setback to be able to use the existing setbacks that are there. A new one that has come up is headlights. Shade, I don't recall exactly the term that we use, headlight screening. That they're requiring a 36-inch height fence around all parking, which it doesn't really, isn't very conducive to the site that we have here. So this whole Title 34 zoning component is something to create more pedestrian movement around these properties, which we have that. We have walkways down to all the sides on Wilson Road and Broadway. So we're just trying to reuse an old building and adapted it to a good new use for the community.
So the committee voted 6-0 in support of this application as well. The issue with it is, y'all remember that zone-in conversation that happened over the past few years, and it's still happening here in Columbus. So Zonin has said that the corner of Broad and Wilson is now an RAC zone district. So bigger buildings, can be built there in the future. It means that, you know, it should be more walkable, like, you know, you're thinking like some offices and some retail and restaurants, all this kind of stuff, eventually, right? And one of the goals of that is they say in the new zoning code, these districts should shift all this parking over here inside the building instead of being between Wilson and the building as it is. This change only went into effect 9 months ago, 8-9 months ago. So it's a very new change. So this application is literally just saying to keep the building and the current footprint as is, as was allowed under the old zoning code, but now needs a variance under the recent changes. Are there any questions from committee members? Comments?
You said you are putting in a sidewalk along West Broad?
Actually, the city's putting in new sidewalks along West Broad. We're just creating access from our sidewalks out to the existing sidewalks, so.
And it looks close to being done, not to jinx it.
We hope.
We hope. We'll see. Any questions from community members about this property and this application? Seeing none, I motion that we approve application 25-1100 for 3500 West Broad Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
A race for the second.
Okay,
We call the roll, please. Thank you.
yes, Commissioner Mateen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox. Commissioner Howell.
Yes.
Commissioner Copeland.
Yes.
Commissioner Bates.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Dean. Commissioner Maddox.
Yes.
Commissioner Marcus.
Yes.
Marcus, sorry, Montana, yes, McKee.
Yes.
Your motion passes 11-0 in favor.
Thank you, and I'll get the paperwork in the next 48 hours for y'all.
Wonderful, thank you.
Great, thank you. Alrighty, our next application. It go just as quick, I'm sure. 25-054, 1100 Georgesville Green. This is an application to construct a 48 unit apartment building on off of Georgesville Green and Hull Road.
Not a thumb drive if.
Josh is the one running the screen.
Charging this one. Good luck. I don't have an ability to do it. Give it.
I might have an adapter here.
I don't have enough USBs. Not even correct, sorry.
Okay, well, maybe we can make it.
He'll try and email it to me, but yeah, this is something that you got to email earlier, sorry. It's just one of those. Can't do it on the fly, sorry. There's so many USB cards. Only so many things I can do.
Would you like for me to send you an email with the exhibits?
He's gonna try if you can shoot it. He's got my email already, it'll be easier.
Yeah.
I've got this. The application that you can start going through, but.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you start with like the site plan?
Who should I send the email to?
I got it.
They're sending it
Okay.
right now, yeah.
Okay, my name is David Hodge. I'm a zoning and land use lawyer, here this evening on behalf of Hayden Myers. His entity is HAMM Holdings LLC. The property is what you see here on the screen on the north side of Hall Road. You see Georgesville Road over to the far east, Georgesville Green to the west. So the site we're talking about is the one that says site with the bold black line around it. You'll notice on that exhibit that, which is the Columbus zoning map, that there's an LC3 on there. That red color in the LC3 indicates that the property is currently zoned limited C3 commercial. So that's the existing zoning on the property. We have filed 2 applications with the city. We have filed a rezoning application to allow the apartment residential district on the property and a companion council variance
which allows us to move the buildings closer to the south, away from the residences to the north, closer to Hall Road. The code requirement for that is 50 feet. We've requested a variance to reduce that down to 25 feet. The other thing that the council variance allows us to do is commit to a site plan and commit to architecture. So hopefully somewhere in your exhibits there, we have a copy of the site plan and the exhibits, or the architecture rather. Yeah, so there's the next slide up. So there's a copy of the site plan. You see the access point comes in from the west there at Georgesville Green. Along the north side of this, we have a 25-foot perimeter buffer, in which we can either preserve existing trees with augmentation, or eliminate those trees and do mature evergreen trees at installation to create a nice perimeter buffer there between the single family to the north and our parking there to the south. The two numbered buildings there are each 24-unit apartment buildings. You see along the south at Hall Road, there's going to be new pedestrian infrastructure, an ongoing discussion with the city about whether that's going to be a shared use path or a sidewalk. Internal to the site, you see the white there, that's an internal pedestrian network. To the east of building 2 there's a green area. There was feedback at your zoning committee. We have since committed to create a small dog park in that location. And then the far eastern side of the property is within a stream corridor protection zone, maintained with the existing vegetation that you see there. Yes, that site plan. You see the small dog park and the facility there east of building 2. This has been winding its way through the process. Of course, a submission to the city, internal discussions with the city, both the planning department, the zoning department, also traffic management. I was specifically requested at the first zoning committee meeting to reach out to the traffic management team, the traffic engineers, which I did. Had a discussion with them, and I know there's been lots of feedback about existing traffic at this intersection of Georgesville Green and Hall. The traffic management, traffic engineering feedback we've received is that this place on the property is the most appropriate place for the access point to be. Within the parameters of that existing LC3 zoning, that's where the access point is going to be should this property develop commercially. 2 zoning committee meetings. Oh, let me go back to the city. So lots of internal meetings with the city. There are slides in here that provide for the commission, the city's feedback. The City of Columbus Planning Department is in support of this proposal based upon their interpretation of the guiding documents, both the Hilltop Plan and the C2P2. So the city's recommendation for this proposal is one of support. Another important element, and you mentioned earlier, Mr. Bates, that folks from the city have been in to talk about zone in, upcoming zone in phase 2. This property is on the zone in phase 2 list for a property that would eventually, in the reasonably near future, change in zoning to one of those mixed use districts, which would at that time make a mixed use proposal on the property, including standalone multifamily residential permitted by right. So coming in the near future, someone like me wouldn't have to come in and file a rezoning application and come through the process. The city, subject to their design parameters, is going to make multifamily residential permitted here by right. You know, this is here, and some neighbors are here certainly, and this did not earn a recommendation of approval from your zoning committee. And I understand that, and I appreciate that, and I certainly respect that. Part of the analysis that I go through when I take on a matter and I bring a matter through the city process is I evaluate my client's proposal and ask myself, is what my client wants to do commensurate with or better than what might happen on the property if my client doesn't file an application, right? So the threshold question for me is, is 48 apartment units on the far south side of this site with a commitment to the perimeter screening on the north, better than the LC3 that's there today. The LC3 that's there today could potentially allow a retail strip to go on this property without anybody coming to talk to the Greater Hilltop Area Commission or any neighbor. That retail strip would have service corridor in the back. It would have dumpster service in the back. It would have box truck delivery in the back. And in my mind, that is potentially significantly more disruptive to the residential neighbors to the north than what we are proposing here. And so that met my threshold test of, is what my client proposing to do better than what otherwise might happen on the property if left alone. Now, some additional food for thought for the commission and some additional evidence for the commission that that's real. That's not just an idle make-believe scenario. If you see the far west side of this, you see Georgesville Green, you see the 5 houses there due west of that, and then you see the vacant lot due west of that. There is a 4 unit retail building that is currently in the permitting process in the city of Columbus. So that property will, in the near future, develop commercially under this same limited commercial zoning that we have here to the east. So the possibility of this developing commercially, as I described, is, in my opinion, based upon what's happening in the neighborhood already, very, very real. In this slide, if anybody wants to see it, we also have some exhibits of what that is over to the west. We were able to pull that from the city. If folks want to see that, what you just went through there is the architecture of the proposal. Again, with our council variance, that architecture becomes a commitment. The site plan that we've been talking from becomes a commitment, so that's incorporated into the city's legislation. My client has to build exactly to that specification, or they are in violation of zoning. I think I'll stop there. I don't know, Hayden, if you have anything you'd like to add.
Just to pretty much ditto what David said, if this isn't rezoned to the proposed use that we're proposing, things like preserving existing wildlife or adding dog parks or potential sidewalks or whatever the case may be that the community is requesting, a new person can come in and do none of that. We don't have to ask for anybody's opinion or anybody's permission other than meeting the engineering requirements of the city. Other than that, I agree with everything that David had said, so.
So we're happy to answer any questions, certainly from the commission, neighbors, folks from the community. But at the end of the day, we do respectfully request that the commission send this on to the city with a recommendation of approval from the Greater Hilltop Area Commission.
Well, as was mentioned, the committee did vote 0-6 against this application. We did have 2 September or August and September committee hearings where we did this application at both of them to make sure we had a full opportunity to assess and evaluate these conversations. Some of the major concerns that came out of those committee meetings were primarily around traffic. There's already major traffic issues along Hall Road over the past 25 years or so. A lot of housing development, a lot of apartments have gone up along Hall, and the infrastructure just has not kept up. That's not a fault of the applicant tonight. That's a fault of the city, and not about whether it's stop signs, speed bumps, traffic control devices, roundabouts. I know those can get kind of controversial, but we do know that they do reduce accidents and slow down traffic. The city has not maintained the need with the population growth in this area. We also know that as we look at other types of infrastructure that are needed with the amount, I'm really excited. So thank you for the dog park, because I know that was a concern that was brought up. So I'm really grateful to see that. But we also know that parks, coffee, the third spaces, libraries, parks, schools, rec centers. With the massive amount of new housing development that has already occurred on Hall Road, the city, once again, not maintain that quality of life, those additional things that need to go to support those residents. And one of the things as we look at zone in policies over the past, with zone in phase 1 and phase 2, one of the ultimate, big picture, 30,000-foot view is looking at how to create, more livable communities. Because right now we have very segregated neighborhoods. You live here, you go to school here, you hang out here, you go to work over here, requires you to have a car, or access to reliable public transportation. Link Us is gonna bring some reliable transportation on their primary corridors and the connecting areas. We're not there yet, and this is pretty far off of Broad Street to be part of that Link Us initiative. So as we look at some of those things as well, we run into continuing that segregation of you're gonna have to live here, have access to a car to go somewhere else for work and shopping and play and all those things. So those are just a few of the things that came up during our zoning conversations during the committee that I just wanted to lift up and emphasize this evening. So at this time, do the commissioners have any questions before we open it up to community? Commissioner White.
Does this project have anything to do with retreat at Scioto Creek? Is this like a second phase?
It does not.
Okay. Will there be a leasing office and employees on site?
Yes, there will be. We'll be dedicating one unit, hopefully 2 on-site staff there full-time, to lease the property up till stabilization. And then the last unit to be leased will be the leasing, the model unit. We'll have them go and then fill that unit, and it should be 100% occupied from there on out.
Do you plan on having any staff on site at all after it's fully leased?
Yeah, so we'll have a resident assistant, somebody who will actually live on site, and they'll be there to make sure. Something that we brought up last time too, the neighbors worried about people parking in the neighborhood. That is strictly forbidden, written in the lease, they have to park on site, and we'll have resident assistants that will go through and make sure people are parking on site, nobody's littering, smoke-free facility, so make something like that going on, and they'd be on site, live in, tenant employees.
And then do you have a management company that will be managing this, or is this like done like in-house, your corporation?
It'll be done through Ardent Property Management, Ardent Communities.
And then are all the units market rate or?
Market rate, there is an element of affordable do it, but there's a program that you can essentially buy out of the affordability of it to still get the benefits of the CRA. And at this time, I think that's the direction that we're going, but I can't promise anything on that.
So the property will take advantage of the citywide CRA, and there are 3 different ways that you can qualify for the criteria. Whether it's rent control or payment into the fund that Hayden mentioned that goes towards affordable housing in the greater neighborhood.
This time, is there a representative from the Georgesville Green community that has any statements to read on behalf of the homeowners in that neighborhood? Rick, go ahead and introduce yourself to the commission and proceed.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Rick Kitchen. I am a resident of Georgesville Green community over 15 years. I'm actually a Columbus resident of over 50 years. I was a Columbus City School graduate, so I truly enjoyed where I live. And my wife and my son, residents there for 15 years now. Georgesville Green, just to kind of give a little background, Georgesville Green community is a diverse community of 105 single-family homes on 32 acres of mature established neighborhood for 23 years. We are currently served by Southwestern City Schools and Columbus City Schools. We have one entrance and exit substreet, which is Jordan Drive. We're north south located in our community. in order to egress out to Hall Road. A thoroughfare comes west to east for community purposes and for local school district, school bus transportation, and city of Columbus provided services. We rise in opposition to the rezoning application from Ann Holdings, represented by Mr. Wayne Hodge, for the parcel of 1.83 acres, which is located on 4518 Hall Road and 1100 Georgetown Green Drive, which is the southeast corner of Georgetown Green Drive. The property previously had a single family home existing on it at one time at a driveway exiting onto Hall Road. But was left abandoned by the owners of the Trump family until it was up to a point where it needed excavation as they put the parcel up for sale. Parcel in question is zoned R2 as well as C3. After the deed change updated 200 parcels surrounding the community, one which Hodge mentioned, which is the rest of our community, which was also R2, but it was also zoned for C3. But that exit is onto Hall Road, not into Georgesville Green. The deed change again on the northeast and southwest side. We were explained by the potential owner, they intend to place 2 apartment buildings consisting of 1 2 bedrooms. For the potential buyer's attorney was stated that there would be absolutely no effect on the existing community. They quote the current deed zoning upgrade 2002 to C3. It states that the city of Columbus will not allow an egress any other way. The area on Hall Road has seen significant growth, as Commissioner Bates stated, since 2002 deed has been referred to. For Hall Road, in the amount of density of traffic and multifamily units, single family homes and townhomes that now exist are quite immense, and frankly, Hall Road is very poorly planned. I would not want to walk as a pedestrian down Hall Road. I would be quite concerned, even with the sidewalks that have been established. It's very close to the road. There's not much spacing at all, and unfortunately, there have been pedestrians that have been hit, and some other things that have happened on the corners, some fatalities on the corner of Georgesville Green and Hall Road. They state that the impact to the neighborhood character or the adjacent properties and would not be altered by this additional code change. This is really not a correct statement. In safety issues should be prominent with the traffic and the change to the neighborhood traffic patterns and usage. Property values will go down. The neighborhood will be less attractive as well to families and potential buyers, possibly. The character of our 23-year-old plus community will be greatly affected. If you look at infrastructure on Hall Road, from Georgesville Road to Norton Road, which is approximately 1.5 miles, there are currently 9 apartment complexes and 3 residential areas off of Hall Road, and 2 small business strip malls near Norton Road and Hall Road, and 200 businesses and a warehouse district on the other side near a car dealership and auto mall and off of Hall Road to the south, which allows semi trucks to exit and travel onto Hall Road frequently. Also, all the current apartment entrances exit onto Hall Road and not through a substreet of an existing or established neighborhood. If you were to go further west of Hall Road near North Road, there's residential, but on the corner of Galloway and Hall Road, there are actually over 750 apartments, 500 of which are coming up on that corner. So there is no lack of multifamily units in this area. Hall Road is seriously lagging behind in how the planning was complete, and only recently had updated the corner of Georgesville Road and Hall Road to add an additional lane. It is extremely dangerous for our residents in Georgesville Green community to make a left-hand turn from Georgesville Green Road onto Hall Road due to the amount of traffic flow. It is worse during the winter time. I've experienced that myself. Attempts have been made by fellow residents for new traffic studies to no avail. We also have a lack of parks, as Commissioner Bates mentioned, crosswalks, sidewalks on Hall Road, which is not very wide in some areas, and the overpass bridge over 270 is seriously in disrepair. Sullivan Road was recently updated about 2 years ago, so our bridge definitely need be updated for sure. The infrastructure for our community is still set for 2002, not 2025. I'll make that another point of emphasis. Again, we have no safe sidewalks, no bike trails, no safety measures, lighting, no conducive driving pattern. Not to mention that Hall Road is also used as a backup or a detour due to backup from Broad Street, Georgesville Road, and the I-270 Allenville in case of accident situations. When Sullivan Avenue, the bridge is being made. All the routing, Hall Road is like a line of traffic in the mornings and in the afternoons. Across Hall Road from our neighborhood is another group of apartments, Belvedere Apartments. This intersection has been the cause of multiple car accidents over the years, including at least 2 fatalities. Last but not least, during school season, the traffic is exasperated by the amount of school buses that travel through our community as well as the surrounding area. Every day is a challenge to enter or leave our community and is often dangerous, which is a concern to the safety and security of our residents. For example, within the last 3 years, developer from Indiana, KCG Development, invested in a parcel that's directly to the west of us, 30 acres, which is the retreated side of the tree, which had an additional 264 multi-family units directly next to our community, which is now established. Some of those apartment buildings are right on top of a few of our homes in our community. Since this neighborhood has become established in the community, we've had some suspicious activities, unfortunately, some theft, vandalism, and some trespassing in our community, which has given the residents some concern. Through many attempts to work with this community, as it's being established, to prevent such results, it became an effort of futility and was completely disregarded. We were basically ghosted. We did not wish to see the same result continue. That is a concern for members of our community. In the place of rezoning application for AR1 multifamily units, we asked the land stay zoned C3 and R2 for commercial use. With commercial usage, we may be able to entice a business that would possibly impact and enrich ours and our surrounding community's lives. Barring that, perhaps apply for many families and children who live in our area. There is also a ravine and several types of wildlife which we would be able to preserve. This would be a positive ecological event as well. Our city canopies are disappearing at an alarming rate. The reference to the property directly to the west of our community had 0.83 acres of nothing but woods. They unintentionally, but they did take down all of those trees. If you look at the property now, it's completely down, and they had to make some setbacks because they violated the city code. They took down all trees for that. So they've rectified that with different setbacks and trees and so forth. Again, there are enough residents in our community that would be able to have these businesses to thrive. The construction will once again, along with the other parcel next to us, create great challenge to our community with machines and building equipment, et cetera, noise pollution and loss of more tree canopy in our community, which already there is such a lack of forestry compared to many other areas and suburbs of Columbus. We're appreciative and grateful for all the commissioners and staff of City of Columbus, Councilmember Green's office for hearing our voice. We hope that our voices will continue to be heard respectfully, residents of Georgesville Green community.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Mr. Kitchen from the committee or from the commission? Do commissioners have any questions for the applicant at this time?
I have a question for the homeowner community that's right behind you guys. I know there was a lot of mention about the traffic. If there was like a light there at that intersection, because I'm trying to, again, like, the applicant can't control what's going on in the middle of the street. That's the city's job. We know they're not great at it, but we can't ding the applicant for something they can't control. But is there any opposition to the actual apartment development versus keeping it commercial? Can you just speak to that, just so I have more context of what the neighbors are saying, what they want to see on that parcel versus the struggles and blight that's going on in the street?
My name is Westwood, and I'm one of the Georgesville Green members, also an HOA board trustee member. I actually live just right there in the middle, honestly, past where those buildings will be. mainly what we're looking for. I mean, we would like to keep it commercial. We understand that, we could have, you know, say a psychic or something, or somebody open up business there, or maybe a small a coffee shop or something. As it's just a couple of things that we've heard in the last couple of zoning hearings. You know, the devil, you know, so to speak. But honestly, it just goes back to how underdeveloped Hall Road is. Has anybody here, a show of hands, walked down Hall Road? Anybody know what it looks like?
We do.
It's a safety concern. I have a small child. I stand out at the bus stop with other parents and I watch, you know, plethora of buses coming through. I see the commuters going to and fro. I've seen cars not make it on a left-hand turn. I've seen them, end up across the street in the apartment pond. When I bought my house there a little over 5 years ago, you know, one of the things that I liked so much was like that little wooded canopy, that wilderness that we still had there. And since the testing of the soil of the trees have been cut down and everything, we've lost some of our wildlife. We've lost several trees. I don't want to see more of our canopy gone. We already have to travel how far to go to our metro parks just to be, you know, part of nature. So again, I'm going to second everything that my fellow board trustee member Ricky Kitchens said, and I'm open to any other further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from commissioners at this time? Would the applicant like a chance to respond?
Yes, thank you. And I'll be reasonably brief and I, as I said in the beginning, certainly understand the city infrastructure issue and the traffic concern. It was restated by the neighbors and stated by you, Mr. Bates, in the beginning. However, I stand by the notion that the traffic generated from a multi-tenant commercial building that can develop on the property by right as presently zoned is a greater traffic generator than what is proposed with these 48 units. This LC3 zoning has been on the property for 23 years. So it's been zoned that way a long time. The city's getting ready to change the zoning, whether they do it with us or not, to allow this use. And so that is coming in the future. To evaluate the overall intensity of this, as we've said, we are, I believe, proposing a use here that is less intense overall than what that zoning allows there today by right. I have not walked Hall Road. I take your word for it. The city is requiring us, however, to install pedestrian infrastructure in Hall Road. We think that's going to be a shared use path, so that would accommodate both pedestrians and bikes. It's 8 or 10 feet wide in asphalt. The city is also working on some global immediate area pedestrian infrastructure, which is going to hopefully lend itself to address some of the issues that we've heard. Now, there were some comments about ghosting and things like that. I don't think that was in reference to me. That was maybe previous developers that came to this. We did, for at least for our part, did reach out a number of times to have direct meetings with the neighborhood, and the neighborhood in that case opted to allow this process to play out here with the commission and with the city. So look, I know that people aren't buying what I'm selling. People aren't picking up what I'm laying down, whatever the expression is. And I understand that. But the analysis here in my mind is simple. This proposal promotes a less intense use than the zoning that's there today. And so on the basis of that, I respectfully request that the commission send this on through the remainder of the city process with a recommendation of approval.
Thank you. And I do also want to thank the applicant and the community members for civil dialogue. When we're talking about homes and investments and businesses and these things, it can be very, these are our lives. They do matter, right, for everybody involved. So I do want to thank everybody for conducting themselves with respect and dignity, because this is the difficult nature of this work, is trying to figure out how do we show up, how to express ourselves, how do we have these conversations, so that we can figure out how to move forward together. And with that, I'd like to make a motion that we vote on application. Look at my page. I think too many notes. Application 25-054, 1100 Georgesville Green.
Second.
Ashley, can you please take the roll?
So right now it is motioning in favor of this development.
Correct.
So we are motioning in favor of the council variances that were discussed by the applicant. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Mateen, how do you vote? Sorry, I make you go first. You said no. Okay. Commissioner Carn.
No.
Commissioner Howard. Commissioner
No.
Commissioner
No.
Bates. Commissioner White.
No.
Or me. Commissioner Maddox.
No.
Marcus.
No.
I am also a no, but then the community's response.
Right.
No.
Thank you all. Yep, thank you. And I will be sending then this recommendation with this vote total down to the city with the nuance of the conversation that we've had. You know, one, my hope is to get the city to pay attention and start making the investments we need along the whole road. And looking at, as we look at development, as we look at zoning, to really look at how do we build the parks, and definitely give, gratitude, because I think moving the property forward is a good improvement. The dog park, really appreciate that, and the respect that I felt from the applicants to the process of trying to accommodate some of the community concerns. But thank you. All righty. And that ends that application. We'll now move on to our final zoning application tonight. I have 803. Our final application is BZA 25-035 for 2720 Briggs Road. And if folks for the Georgesville Green property that were planning to stick around, great. We're happy to have you, but if you were planning to head out, feel free to do that at this time. All right, great. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Take it away.
Thank you all very much for the time this evening. Thank you everybody from the community for being as engaged as you have been. My name is Cliff Ashburn. I'm with James Warren Shoal. I have with me Jared Burgess from Marion Group, and Bill Schema from Kinley Horn. I'm just going to kind of run through these slides. I'm aware that we're getting to the end of your meeting time, so I want to be respectful of that. I'm going to go about as quickly as I can. So I'm going to let Jared introduce Marion real quick, and then I'll run through the rest. Go.
Hello, I'm Jared Burgess from the Marion Group. We're based in Louisville, Kentucky. We've been developing residential real estate for about 20 years with a focus on affordable housing. That's what we're proposing here on Briggs Road is one form of affordable housing, specifically affordable assisted living. Just a brief definition of assisted living. Assisted living is kind of that step between full independent living and what we call skilled nursing. A lot of our folks are still, highly functional. There's an element of independence, but the folks that we're serving need a little help with the day-to-day. And again, the goal here is to serve those folks who are in financial need as well. Our community name here is Vibera Brookshire. Our proposed development is 4 stories at 118 units. That design is, not just a good idea, that is well thought out. We collaborated with our operator, Garden, who operates assisted living facilities across the nation. And we've also learned a lot from our existing operating affordable assisted living facilities and implemented. We continuously improve our design with each new development. Our 4-story height is important and integral with our design. We have elevators to serve our residents, and instead of spreading folks out who may have mobility issues, the goal here is to have services very accessible throughout the building. So as you can imagine, folks spend a lot of time in the dining areas and various amenity areas throughout the building. So those are strategically placed and very accessible by traveling vertically in our elevators instead of walking across a long corridor. We will provide a mix of studio and one bedroom units. I know traffic and parking was a primary topic in the meeting a couple weeks ago. This is a very low traffic impact development. Many of our residents, if they do bring a car, out of 100 residents, maybe 6 to 8 bring a car and eventually, decide everything's here on site for me. I really have no use for this vehicle. Or they'll utilize the on-site minibus that we provide. We'll see a picture of that here in a moment. Parking was also a topic. Sorry, go ahead. Yep, there's our rendering of Vibera Jeffersonville. That's a sample of another facility in our portfolio currently operating.
Thanks, Jared. So, Jared was going through, obviously, we talked about the definition of assisted living facilities. The Vibera operation is highly amenitized. So there are a variety of things within the building and accessible to all residents. The residents here, there is a private pay option, but most people who are in these facilities are on a combination of Medicaid subsidy and a combination of affordable housing tax credits. That's how these proposals are financed. It does allow for a pretty significant reduction in the cost of assisted living without a reduction in the building itself, the programming, and food. So the experience for the residents is the same. We'll go ahead and advance the slide. Thank you. So these are some of the living spaces. These are all 1 and 2 bedroom, studio 1 bedroom units. They do have small, like mini fridges and microwaves, but there's no cooking facilities. Residents are provided 3 meals a day. So what the microwaves are used for is reheating something, popcorn if you're watching a movie, that sort of thing, and then be able to keep some personal food in the unit. You go ahead and advance the slide, please. These are some of the amenities. The photo on the right is the library that's actually at Vibera Jeffersonville. You can see the lobby there on the left. Can you go ahead and advance? One of the other things that Jared mentioned, on the right, there is transportation provided with each of these facilities. On the left, Vibera Jeffersonville actually has a salon. And so they bring in hairstylists from the community who would like to come and provide that service. Go ahead and advance. So this is the property we're talking about.
you know, like the last case, this is a property that is going to be zoned in phase two. When that occurs, there will be some changes to the development standards that apply to the property. Currently, there's a 25-foot setback, for instance, to the north. When zoning occurs, that will go to 10 feet. There are current minimum parking requirements. Zoning occurs, that will go to 0. So there are certain things that are happening, and really Marion is, through its design, through its expansion of Vibera into Ohio, really trying to solve the issue of people who need assisted living, can't afford what is, you know, a typical expense was about $10,000 a month. So trying to provide that affordability, that level of service, same building, same kind of programming. And has in this proposal taken both, you know, its own internal knowledge about what works for the residents, what works for the building, and documents that have been adopted by the city of Columbus, including zoning. So trying to harmonize all those things in the design is really what's led to the site plan that I'll show you in just a minute. You go to the next slide, please. So this is you all are much more familiar with this property than I am. It's a fairly open piece of land. It was previously developed. There's a commercial foundation on the west side of it. And obviously you've got the commercial there on the southeast corner. Here goes the next slide, please. Current use, the property is split zoned. So it was zoned for commercial. And I think with the zoning, it would obviously be allowed for mixed use. We go to the next slide, please. And this is the proposed site plan. Now, this site plan is a little bit different than what you saw at the zoning committee. What has occurred here is sliding the building to the south. I understand that the concern about parking, we also understand the concern about the view shed from the homes on the north. So what's been done here is we've moved the building to the south about 15 feet, added a fence along the north side, in addition to that double row of screening plantings. Those are intended to be evergreen plantings, although we are not sure of the specific species at this time. We're going to try to work with the planting staff to come up with that final landscape. One other thing I'll point out here is, and if you'll go to the next slide, you can see the comparison. So we've got the required setbacks there kind of on the lower middle. And I think the one that's probably of primary concern to the folks in the room, at least the most directly affected, are the north building setback. The requirements 25 feet. Even under the current zoning, the building height is 35 feet. We're currently proposing, or we were proposing before the committee, 52 feet. So just a little more than double that setback requirement. Now we've slid the building down another 15 feet. So we're trying to, you know, understanding that the Vibera model, the building itself, its internal function, the programs that are provided, has really been kind of fine-tuned. We're trying to work within the site to address concerns that we heard at that committee. Go to the next slide. So we are very, rather, trying to address concerns that were raised, trying to be responsive to C2P2, understanding the zoning that may apply to the property in the future. And we would ask, in spite of the recommendation from the committee, that the full area commission recommend approval to the city council of the variances would be requested. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, and definitely appreciate the updated layout. So the commission did, or the committee did vote in opposition to this application. So just to clear up for the commissioners, the specific zoning variances that are being requested. The first one, which I think had a lot of concerns, was around height. So that area is currently zoned for 35-foot high 30-foot high buildings. Which is normally about 3 stories of a building. For the people building, that, right?
Yeah.
Right, 35, 40 feet is normally about 3 stories. So the variance request is to take it up to allow that 4th story to be added on. One of the big concerns we heard during the committee was around some folks who have solar panels and things, and their fear was with this being so close to the back property line that it could impact some of those homes, who, when their contractors came out and said, hey, you can do zone or solar and have value here, we're probably assuming any buildings built on those sites would only be 35 feet high. So going up an extra 25 feet, if my math is right, would create an issue that they wouldn't have been aware of. The other issue there, so there's a fairly technical issue where a variance is needed for parking spots. So since it is 2 parcels and the parking spots, are generally associated with the overall building, under current zoning code, they are supposed to be on that parcel for that unit. So this allows parking spots, on the west side of the building to be serving units officially on the east side. So that's a fairly technical issue since it's 2 parcels operating as one. And then the third variance that was needed was current city code says that they should have 89 units. Okay, trying to do this from memory without having to read everything on my notes. And then they are only proposing 60 parking spots. Under, and as you heard the applicant say, not that many folks they believe would be owning cars on site. And I think during the committee, you said about 25 employees at any given time would be on site. Concerns were raised from the community members that what if there's extra staff? What are their visitors? The little Cub Scout group comes in to sing Christmas carols in the lobby or something, how quickly does that end up adding up to having an impact where then there will be parking overflow and parking issues in the community. So those were some of the major things specifically around zoning that were brought up. There are other issues around density, which actually I did the math and this fits in with the proposed Columbus citywide planning policies for that parcel for density and some other and trash pickup, but that is, the screening and things were also within current zoning guidelines. Are there any questions from commissioners for the applicants at this time? Commissioner White?
So I'm just going off your website. It looks like you operate 3 facilities in Ohio currently. Is that correct? Washington Courthouse, Grove City, and Lancaster?
Those are not our facilities.
Oh, sorry. Garnet offers employment.
Those are our operator.
Gotcha. Okay. Can you kind of elaborate more as to why you picked this location? Kind of be like, would this be like your first facility in Ohio then?
In Columbus, yes. We appreciate Columbus's affordable housing initiatives. That's kind of what got our attention to become part of the working group here in the city addressing the affordable housing crisis. In development, our team always starts with data. Market study was extremely compelling for this specific area. So, with the goal of addressing affordable housing needs, we felt like this area in general was a very strong candidate for a development of this type. That's kind of what got our attention to this neighborhood and this exact location. Yeah. Right, and we also have a facility under construction in Colerain Township in Cincinnati. Very, very similar neighborhood. Our neighbors are primarily single family residential. And we have facilities in Indiana, kind of the same types of neighborhood. And, you know, in terms of other projects, other investment in the state of Ohio, we recently approved zoning approval for a site in Dayton. Again, very similar site, within a predominantly single family home residential area with some mixed uses, in the vicinity.
And I think I said this at the zoning committee, there is definitely I mean, I've watched a few neighbors attempt to age in place. In my neighborhood who, try to maintain a 100-year-old home when you're, you know, getting up there in age and, you know, they were still out there cutting their grass and doing their yard work on their own, but it became a day-long activity for them to be able to try to maintain that. So having these type of services in there is definitely an advantage, for having these type of services and opportunities for people to stay in the neighborhood. You know, keep going to their church and, you know, cards, game and all of that without having to do the yard work anymore and all of it. So whether, regardless of the specific zoning issues that we're talking about today, I do want to say I'm supportive and excited about these kind of conversations because I definitely see a need for this kind of service.
Thank you.
Do we have any representatives who have talked that are going to speak on behalf of community members this evening? You can come forward and introduce yourself. And we are at 8:22 right now. The library closes at 9 and we have other things on the agenda still to get to this evening. So just reminding folks of that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalie Farber. I am a Brookshire resident on Shirts Avenue, which is north of this site. And okay. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? I've got a couple handouts. I didn't know you were gonna have overheads. So one of these has a attachment with it that I want you to see, and the other one I'll give to you, James.
Is that clicked on?
Yeah, I think that's. What's that?
Click it on. Click up.
It's on. Hello? Okay. I'm Natalie Farber. I live in the Brookshire neighborhood. I've been there about 22 years. And many of us, I think maybe 25 to 30 of us appeared before the zoning committee last month. Can you hear me okay? Got a little laryngitis going. Yeah, it's anybody.
We have another one, yeah.
Yeah, let's swap.
Yeah, I don't think it's doing anything. Hello. You might see it's on. Okay, once again. Hey, I'm Natalie Farber. I live in the Brookshire neighborhood, north of this site on Shirts Avenue. My property faces this site. I don't have it in my backyard, but many of the neighbors here do. So about 25 to 30 of us appeared last month before the zoning committee and gave a lot of feedback. They were very generous with their time. And at this point, we've tried to put together a unified set of comments and concerns, okay, for you to listen to tonight, hopefully. We're recommending to the commission to deny this rezoning. We've reviewed the 14-page Marion Development Corporation rezoning application that they submitted in July. And we have multiple reasons asking you to deny it. It's a small site. The footprint is just too large. The minimum building setback from all the property lines, at least on the engineering design plans that were up here earlier, is a minimum of 25 feet, which seems like it would uncomfortably impact neighboring businesses and homes. backyards, patios, decks, flower gardens, vegetable gardens, driveway access, solar panels. When we reviewed the application, it looks like it cannot meet the Columbus Revised Code, section 3312.49, that requires a parking ratio for hundred and 18 beds, requires a minimum of 89 parking spaces. The applicant in their application proposed 60 parking spaces, but even the 60 we learned were in question per the representative at the September zoning committee meeting, unless variance 1 is approved. And that's under, in the application, it's under section G, listed some reason under miscellaneous. But anyway, the proposed structure is to be 4 stories, but I'm thinking I'm hearing something different tonight. The 4 stories was gonna be a height of 60 feet, which we feel is way too tall in an area almost exclusively single-story ranch homes, every store, every business, thus inappropriate for our greater Hilltop neighborhood, notably compared to the current 35-foot height limit. It doesn't seem like it can meet rigorous building standards under Columbus Revised Codes unless these 3 separate variances that are listed again under section G miscellaneous are approved by Columbus City Council. And I'm going to walk you through the comments that we have and concerns related to each of those 3 variances. This won't take long. So the first variance, and I'm paraphrasing because I couldn't quite understand how it was worded, but I think I understand it better. So the first variance talks about allow maneuvering and parking spaces to cross parcel lines if the property parcels as they exist right now can't be combined. At the zoning committee meeting in September, the Brookshire neighbors asked the Marion representative, what does this mean? Their response indicated that there's various zoning designations that currently exist between 2 separate parcels due to previous land uses like beauty salon, bakery, whatever, such that some of their 60 proposed parking spaces on what I would refer to as the east side of the site, some of those 60 proposed spaces cannot even be created unless this first variance is approved. Without approval, it appears available parking spaces fall another 30% below their proposed 60 and well below the revised code's minimum of 89. There is no suitable substitute parking area on site or anywhere in our Brookshire residential neighborhood. It was built in 1961, as said, there's single-story ranch homes. The streets are fairly narrow, we have room on one side. Most people park on one side and we kind of pick our way through. So anyway, with no reliable or suitable substitute parking area, this looks like a problem for the seniors that might want to park there, facility staff, visitors, deliveries, neighbors. So going through variance number 2, says that they're looking to reduce the number of required by revised code parking spaces from a minimum of 89 to 60 total. This variance does not look like it feasibly could be approved because the math is not favorable. How many shifts and how many employees per shift for 118 beds for, how many, let's make sure you thought, how many shifts and how many employees per shift for 118 bed unit who need to park? The Marion representative in September was asked roughly if he knew how many staff might work there. Either total or per shift. I heard him say 25 staff per shift. A Brookshire neighbor who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but was here in September, also works as a registered nurse in a 72-bed senior assisted living facility, which is a little over half the proposed size of this. And they report they have at least 35 staff on site per shift for 3 shifts. So, how many seniors do we estimate who might need parking for their vehicles? The Marion representative had assured neighbors in September not to worry about traffic impacts because most of these seniors, if they bring a car, may leave their cars parked, favoring to use their shuttles instead. Visitors for the 118-bed facility who need to park, they might be challenged to find any parking on site. Consider this example. So you've got either 25 staff, per Marion, which I have no reason not to believe them, or 35 per the registered nurse who works in a 72-bed facility. So either 25 or 35 staff need daily parking. If only a third of seniors that live there need daily parking, 118 people, a third. What is the third for 118 beds? That's 39 spaces. What if only a third of the seniors are lucky enough to have visitors every day? Not all 118, but just a third. So do the math with me. 25 staff or 35 staff plus 39 spaces for seniors, cars, a third of them maybe. And a third who have visitors, another 39. So if you take 25 or 35, you add it to 39, you add it to another 39, you need a minimum of 103 or 113 spaces. So the proposed 60 spaces appears way too few, especially given that the revised code requires the minimum of 89. It also appears barely sufficient during peak hours, special occasions, high traffic flows, senior health events, people get sick, people are dying.
Can we
people die.
Thank you for the math. Can we keep moving? Just because they
Okay.
will be kicking us out in 29 minutes.
Okay, I'm almost done. So where else? So you've got peak hours, special occasions, high traffic flows, senior health events, and holidays, Christmas.
Natalie, can you please move to the next point? We've understood the parking.
Okay.
So move on to the height.
Well, the opposition with that required 89, and I will finish with, begins with just simple aesthetics and room to park our own vehicles. But we're also recognized there are safety concerns adding traffic on this small rural roadway. There's heavy morning and afternoon pedestrian foot traffic. There's high school kids walking back and forth to Briggs High School, which is right next door. What's the likelihood the city's gonna have to widen rural Briggs Road, add signage or traffic signals near the high school or Brownman Avenue? The third variance has to do with reducing the permitted height to 60 feet, 4 stories, compared to what's currently 35 feet limit. We fear this too tall structure will dominate our mid-century modern 1961 vintage adorable ranch homes and businesses across many square miles and likely invade existing privacy. Imagine you got a single-story ranch home and within 25 feet setback, you've got facility staff, seniors and visitors looking down from 4 stories through our windows in our yards, through the doorways. And finally, if this variance 3 is approved, so it's likely going to lead to immediate environmental impacts for 2 Schertz neighbors who have solar panels directly behind this property. We have a statement from their solar installer, which is on the last page, and they shared that a 4-story building can obstruct the efficiency of solar panels because its height and design may cast shadows on the roof or neighboring panels, reducing sunlight exposure. The vertical structure limits the roof area that's available for optimal panel placement, preventing panels from being angled correctly to the sun. It can compromise solar generation. Specifically, the company's name is Ambia Solar. They calculated the basis for solar generation production at this current Schertz address to be 115% annually. With this minimum 25-foot setback, they say it will definitely shade these existing solar panels enough to decrease annual production from 115% to 54%. That's significant. It's gonna drive their solar generation down an order of magnitude. And they've already invested considerable expense. So there's an attached graphic there, and you should know too that other Schertz Avenue neighbors are currently working towards similar solar installations. In fact, many Brookshire ranch homes currently have installed solar panels. Last spring, the city of Columbus offered, this last spring, 2025, City of Columbus offered incentive packages for more of us to do so. The Berkshire neighbor likes the idea of assisted living.
I hate doing this, but we have.
One more sentence.
Natalie, we are almost out of time. They're gonna be literally kicking us out and.
Okay, we
Yes.
prefer, well, we want to tell you what we prefer. We prefer, we're not against assisted living or a nursing home, but we prefer something that is a smaller facility, single story, double at the most, less beds, adequate parking, just a smaller footprint.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A few things, as I mentioned, with regards to the footprint of the place, it's actually the density level that the city currently recommends for that parcel. And I have a question for, the applicants. With the moving the building stop as, the updated proposal, will that address the concerns around the solar at still the 4-story height? Or is there a way to figure that out before things move forward?
Well, obviously, anytime you're talking about a solar installation, it's access to the maximum amount of sunlight. I don't know, I've looked, when you were talking about solar panels that might be in danger of being blocked. I didn't see any on the directly adjacent properties, but it's entirely possible that the Google satellite image was not up to date. We don't believe that a shadow would cast on any solar panels, even on the homes on Schertz Avenue. It just, during the summer months, the shadow is really not going to be that big a thing. And during the winter, I guess it would extend further north, but I don't believe it would cover any home. But that's the answer.
Any additional questions from commissioners?
There's just one more thought on that is, again, under the zoning, you're looking at a 48-foot height. We don't know exactly which district you would be in. I think urban 1 or 2, but both of them have 48-foot maximum heights and a 10-foot yard and 0 parking requirements. So I say that to just indicate, anytime you look at a piece of property, it kind of depends on where you are as to what you see. Some people look at a piece of vacant land and they see a vacant piece of land and they think, well, that should not be anything, or it should be very low or something akin to exactly what's around it. The planning documents that the city has adopted and is likely to adopt relative to this property tell a different story. They tell a story of much more intense development. And I will say, I think this is probably accurate. I've not done the math myself, but a 48-foot building, 10 feet from the property line is probably going to have a greater impact than a 60-foot building, 67 feet from the property line. So I would just ask that you all consider that when you are considering your recommendation.
Thank you. Commissioners, other questions or comments? No, all right. Well, at this time, I'd like to move that we vote in favor of, and remember, the variances that we are specifically looking at are around. And I'm gonna propose that we vote on all 3, but if somebody would like to vote on them separately, we can do that as well. The parking variance from 89 down to 60 spots, allowing the 2 units or the 2 parcels to share parking, basically. That's 1 and 2, and then the third is to up the height requirement up to 60 foot from 35 foot.
Thank you.
So parcels sharing a parking lot, increase the height, decrease parking requirement.
Correct.
This is putting it in plain terms. Okay, heard a second.
Kepler seconded.
Going in the same order. Okay, Commissioner Mateen, how do you vote?
In light of the community's comments, no. 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 No.
No.
No.
No.
No.
No.
I am a no as well.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I will be putting kind of some of the conversation that we've had specifically into the write-up. To illustrate kind of where the concerns are specifically around some of those solar panel conversations for the community members. And this isn't picking anything up now, so. Specifically around some of the solar panel concerns, so that as you continue to work with the city, some of that can be addressed, as well as the parking concerns that have been raised that were specific to the zoning variants. And the other community comments. Great. Thank you so much. Next zoning meeting sometime. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And zoning report.
Thank you, everybody, for participating and coming out tonight. I took as long as I thought I was going to. So real quick, the vice chair did ask if she could give a chair report, so I'm gonna turn it over to her. We can briefly get through this, kind of want to go to the next thing. Sure.
Sorry. Okay, I actually have nothing to report, as the vice chair, but I do have, messages to relay for the secretary and the treasurer who are both absent tonight. So from the secretary, this is the report that, Commissioner Ardro shared. So following the September meeting, 4 commissioners have 1 absence with the current bylaws time period. Ardro, Howard, McKee, and Smith. 0 with more than 1 absence. Please contact the secretary if you think that this is an error. So one of the duties of secretary is to count, the absences of commissioners. So if you think this is an error, please talk to Joe. And then for treasurer, Commissioner Smith sent a report via email to all sitting commissioners. That shared we have just under 2,000 remaining in our city funds. And then Treasurer Smith had also shared that he is stepping down as treasurer at the end of the year. So if anyone is interested in running as treasurer, please talk with him. He can kind of talk you through how this works. It's in partnership with the city, so you'd be working with our neighborhood liaison, Olabisi Eddie, who had to leave. So if anyone is interested, as a reminder, we'll take nominations for all officer roles during our January meeting. That is what I have to report.
Thank you. So with that, we only have 15 minutes left, so I want to get to the unfinished business. Right off the bat, the bylaw changes. The first one, with the advice of the city attorney's office, Joe has asked to remove his bylaw changes for the attendance policy. We'll be re-reviewing that in the committee to kind of align and address the questions the city had. The same thing goes with the committee realignment that was brought forth. The city attorney's office did not have any issues with the restructuring of the committees, but did want to push for a more formal process that all the commissioners would be voting on. So with that, and some of the advice from committee members and commissioners within the committee this last month, I will be processing and finalizing all that documentation to bring that forth at a later time. We don't have enough time for committee reports. Every committee should be meeting this month. Please see our website, our Facebook, and our Google Calendar for those times and events. So with that, I'm going to move over to the vacant seat for Keith Neal. This needs to be a resident of the Hilltop, and this term expires at the end of 2026. So we do have 15 minutes. How many commissioners will be nominating a person tonight? Are you each nominating one person?
Yes.
I think so. I don't think I don't see my second person.
Okay. Is there any discussion about whether or not we should move this to November to allow for more time? There are 3 commissioners missing. I just want to make sure that that's an option that everybody has. I do want to apologize to anybody who was running for the appointment seat. But given the time limitation, 3 missing commissioners, again, yes.
I'm fine moving forward, and my comment would be, Dan is gonna be leaving the commission at the end of this year. And the person I'm nominating was originally gonna be nominated by Dean, so.
Okay, so with that, I'm gonna pass the mic over to the people who are nominating people, so they can introduce them. If you could come up and introduce yourself, I appreciate it.
I'll go first.
Yes. Is Patricia Toholt here? No? Okay, well, I definitely have one. Ray Valentine, who's sitting here in the front row, I'd like to nominate him for the position. He is a lifelong Hilltopper, a West Side business owner, and deeply involved with West High alumni activities and support. He's my friend, and I nominate him for the seat. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi there, my name is Ray Valentine. My husband and I own a property located here in Berkshire, which was part of the zoning issues here tonight. We have 2 children, 7 grandchildren. We own a flower shop here in the Southwest Square Shopping Center called Valentine Floral, as you can see. And I would be happy to serve my community. I've been part of it. I graduated from West High School in class of '89, and I've lived here in the Hilltop all my life.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks.
I don't. What if we're gonna ask questions first, or?
Nominate the great time.
Okay. Then I would like to nominate Rick Kitchen, who as you saw earlier tonight, was representing his neighborhood as well in some of the zoning conversations around Georgesville Green area and Hall Road. Rick has previously been involved with the zoning process over the past few months. I've appreciated his conversations, his insight, and his liaisoning with the neighborhood over there. Rick has also ran for area commission a few years ago. And I know has also been involved with the Health and Human Service and Education Committee as well. So has been involved, doing a lot of great work, and I think would be a valuable voice here on the commission. Rick, do you wanna?
Good evening again. My name again is Rick Kitchen. I'm a 15-year resident of the Greater Hilltop area. Over 50 years in the city of Columbus. Marion Franklin graduate. Sorry, that's not school, but. Sorry. But again, my wife and I have been residents in Georgesville Green. Enjoy it there. Love the neighborhood itself. Obviously, passionate for that and for that area. I appreciated over the years being able to work with some of the commissioners. Again, as Commissioner Bass mentioned, I run a couple years ago and I got 56 votes. I felt pretty good about that. I felt really proud of that. And but I appreciated all the conversations I had and the work I've done with some of the other commissioners. And again, just greatly enjoy the community, want to make an impact for the community. I'm an educator as well as I have background in social work. I have my license currently is inactive, but I'll make it active eventually again as well. But again, just the background that I have and just, the love for the community. I would really, be extremely honored to be able to serve the area of Greater Hilltop and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Are there any other nominees for vacancy?
Hearing none, I'm gonna go ahead and ask if Ashley Montana could do a roll call.
Yeah.
So again, it's one or the other. We got 2 nominees here tonight. So it's either gonna be for Ray Valentine. Yes, you just need to say either their first name.
So we have kitchen and Valentine. We need it on the board or everyone's got that.
Say it one more time.
Kitchen and Valentine, easy, like kitchen sink, Valentine's Day. Got it? Okay. Okay, so. Okay, I'm just. Okay, sticking with the same routine, you're going first.
Kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay.
Valentine. Val.
Kitchen.
Valentine.
Kitchen.
Vote for her, you want.
Kitchen.
I vote kitchen.
I'm gonna vote kitchen.
Valentine.
4 to 7, congratulations to.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
4 to 7,
Yeah.
that's 11. So congratulations. This is a 1-year term, so welcome to the area commission. We'll get all the paperwork over to OLBC. There's a form you need to fill out. We'll get your signature on that. We'll get it over to the city's office for the approval, and then you'll be able to sit. You're welcome to sit at the November commission because it is the following month, so there's a 30-day lag. And then I highly recommend you come back next month, because we'll be filling 3 seats. And if something were to crazy happen and you don't get it then, we'll be filling a 4th seat in 2026. So thank you so much for your participation. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I know the meeting's been super long. We weren't able to get through all of our committee reports, but please be on the lookout on our Facebook page, on our website for any updates. And again, if you need information about the meetings, they're posted here in the library as well. They're on our website, and we have a Google Calendar that you can download that'll be added right to your phone. So with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Who's not arguing with the jury?